Professions are slept on? Yes. What do you suppose they're used for nowadays? In Reboot, well, they're not used. It's because they're slept on. So the professions. Oh god, what are the professions used for? Okay, we can go run through this pretty quickly. So they're slept on so hard that even I don't have all of them. But alchemy is used for extraction. Extraction is useful for making money off of shit items. If you have a lot of items and you have high alchemy, you can extract up to 10 items at once. Get items that can prepare you for later in the game for crafting to high level stuff, which we'll get to in a second. And it can also give you Philosopher's Stones that you also need for high-level crafting, or that you can NPC for 300k each. And the average rate of Philosopher's Stones, for you can start getting them from items level 105 and higher, but it's mainly only starts coming into play, really, items level 120 or higher. I would say even 130 or higher is when you really start seeing Philosopher's Stones. So that includes pencilier stuff. The average amount of rocks you get from pencilier stuff is, I think, a little bit less than 1 rock per item on average, because you don't get like an average of 1 per item if you just extract 1, but you can get anywhere from 1 to 4 for an item when you do get them. So that way it's kind of averages out to a little bit less than 1, I think like 0.8. But since they NPC for 300k each, that means you get about 240k per item. But if you NPC them, you only get 40%. So you get 6 times the amount compared to NPCing your gear. Which I think is make it worth it. Maybe not in the middle of training, but like after training, you have an inventory full of gear, and you're done anyway. You just go to Art Mill, you just extract everything, and then you can sell the Philosopher's Stones, or keep some of them for later. So what you need them for is for crafting stuff. So that's mainly alchemy, and then what alchemy will also let you do is make material and to keep it at level 12. In order to keep it at level 12, because once you go over level 10 on any profession, it'll start decaying. You'll use a mastery. You'll lose mastery if you don't make something every 16 hours. I think it's technically 17, so you want to be safe. You want it to be like 16. So you have to make something that gives you a little bit of mastery, and for that you will need the pieces of time or the rocks of time. Those are the most easily accessible items that will allow you to make items that give you mastery, that don't require a lot of other materials that are very expensive. That being said, it's very easy to level from level 10 to 12 in smithing in a single day if you've been extracting and you have a lot of superior item crystals, and you did a lot of bosses like Ramaru that drop the item, the special weapon shards. If you have one of the 3 weapon shards and 300 superior item crystals, no money, no other rare materials, nothing, you can make a weapon. It only costs you 5 fatigue, which is like nothing, because you have a bar of 300, so you could make 60 of those, and they give you 4,500 each, and this allows you to get to rank 12, which is considered pretty difficult to do in a single day with a single bar of fatigue. And all you have to do is make sure you have like a big stack of superior item crystals, which is very easy to do as long as you extract. So that's what all that is for. Oh yeah, you usually to get to level 10 smithing, you just make arrows, and you can use those arrows then on characters that use arrows to give them up to like 7 weapon attack bonus, so that's kind of nice. And again, you make those with the materials that you got from extracting all of the rocks and the flowers that you found. So it all connects together. So if you lay the solid foundation of having like a good habit of harvesting the stuff and of extracting your stuff, later on in the game you'll save so much time for doing that. And then we have what's left. Oh, accessory crafting. And accessory crafting basically also takes all of the materials that we were talking about before and adds specifically twisted times, which drop from all the monsters, I think above like level 120 or something. Where are they at? These guys, the Twisted Times, which also NPC for a decent chunk, but you want to keep them in the beginning. And the other thing we also need is Grand Spell Essences, which I don't think I have any of them here. But like these are the basic, the green ones, and then you have the red ones, and the Grand Spell Essences are the black ones. And those are the rarest, but they also drop from all the monsters you kill above level, I would say like 140 or something. But those NPC for basically nothing, so you do want to keep those for the sole purpose of crafting stuff later. Accessory crafting is pretty easy to level up as well. You can check the video that support desk linked in the chat under !Meister, going up to 10 and then up to 12 to make Meister gear. And I don't have the skill learned here, but you can see the materials. Honestly, we could just go to Art Mill and just learn it, and then look at the materials. So items that have that you need recipes to be able to craft. Oh, is there an MVP here? That you need recipes to be able to craft. Learn accessory crafting. If you need a recipe, it'll just show up as blank, and it tells you like, yo, you need to know the recipe before you know how to make it. But if it doesn't need a recipe, then you could just look at anything, even if it's way higher level, on how you're gonna, what kind of materials you're gonna have to get. So you can check accessory crafting, and then, so the 2 Meister items you typically make are the ring and the earring. The earring you make to give a good flame, and then to transpose into the sweet water earring quite late into the game. And the rings you make is the Meister ring, because they are the easiest ring to make duplicates of the highest level possible, and because they're 140, 5 extra inventory slots. And with the coin purse, another 7 extra slots. So up to 62 extra, etc. slots. That allows you to hold quite a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, and the last thing that we didn't talk about yet is fusing equipment. If you have 2 items that are exactly the same item, you can fuse them together and have a chance of a higher tier potential, and also of a reroll of the flame on the item that is equal to a reroll of an eternal flame. So we're talking about the rainbow colored, the highest tier of the flames. So this is typically used with items like pink holy cups. You'll keep one and flame it to something that's nice, and then hold an extra one, and then whenever you kill Chaos Pink Bean every week, you have to go into Ardent Mill, and you have to buy these, again from the NPC Knack, who's standing there. You just have to use 4 of them, I think, depending on the level of the item. 4 for level 120 or above. And then you can just put the 2 pink cups in, provided that they both have shitty flames, and then click OK, and they'll fuse into one, and they'll give you a chance of a higher flame with the quality of an eternal flame. Oh yeah, and there's one thing we didn't mention. There's also a skill associated with high level accessory crafting, except that skill doesn't really work very well. This one is the Emmer Stone. This skill gives you is supposed to like prevent death. So in the beginning we thought like, oh, maybe it works like Mystic Door from Bishop and it's actually really OP, but it doesn't quite work like that. You can still die with it on. I think it's just like blocks a hard CC or something. I'm not really sure what it blocks, but it's not reliable to like not die from or something. So people don't fuck with this one at all. You would get to a higher level accessory and to keep it up only if you want to make multiple Meister items, especially if there's an event coming up. Like next anniversary, we'll have a no boom room most likely, which means that items can blow up if you're star forcing it while in the room up to 15 stars, which means you don't have to safeguard your stuff or risk blowing up, which saves you a lot of money and a lot of resources, especially on the rarer resources. So that would be a good time to maybe have your accessory crafting by like at 12 ready to go, so you can make a bunch of these things, because these rings aren't cheap to make, not only in the materials, but they also cost 100 fatigue, which is a third of your bar, and they also have a 15-minute cooldown in between crafting, so you can't just shit these out. Like, you do need to prepare for this. You recover, I think 30 fatigue every hour, and then you recover everything when the day resets. So use that at your advantage when you're crafting big items like these. I mean, it also gives you 342 mastery, but that doesn't mean anything. Like, it's pretty dumb. 342 is actually really low for how much that takes. Maybe that number actually goes up when you're at that level, because those numbers aren't always representative when you're at lower level.